I want to break up with my boyfriend because his mom told me to not speak unless spoken to.
I want to break free.
My boyfriend, 32 male, and I, 27 female, have been friends for 5+ years and close friends for 3+ years. And a little over 2 years ago, we began hooking up.
I like when relationships start as friendships. That's fun.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Both agreed that we didn't want a relationship at the time. It didn't take long, though, for both of us to develop feelings, and we agreed that it was best that we went our separate ways.
What? No. You were just about to love up on each other.
We discontinued. No, they had to stop it. They had to stop it, go their separate ways. By the way, this comes from Must Hustle Left Whisker from the r/OK Storytime subreddit. However, February of 2023, he invited me out to lunch and confessed to me that it had been a mistake. And when he pictured his future, it had always involved me. By the end of the conversation, we both admitted to having strong feelings for each other and wanted to give dating a shot. So, from that point on, things progressed fairly quickly as we already knew each other very deeply. Even when we were just friends, we often could read each other's minds. We soon began to talk plans of when we can get engaged / married / have kids in the coming years. These feelings were also communicated very early on to his parents. Remember that for later. Put an ICU in the chat if you see what's about to go down.
I don't want that to go down. I like this relationship. This is a good ship that I want to sail into the sunset.
Freaking
bad, Samuel.
No.
Also, before I get into what his family has said / done, I do want to preface something. When I tell you this man is the most loving, caring, and kind man I have ever met, I really, really mean it. I have been in relationships in the past and had honestly just given up on dating. If I was not with him, I do not think I would be planning a future with another person. He has met all of my friends and family, and they have welcomed him with open arms. My friends adore how he treats me well, and he has truly been one of the best things that has ever happened to me. Any issues we had, we talked through calmly and together, and we worked past them. About 6 months into our relationship, I began to express more frequently that I wanted to meet his mom and dad. For context, they are still married, although it is very strange. All capitals.
Extremely unhappily married.
Ooh, baby. Strained like some wet noodles. And the beginning of our relationship, he had moved in with them less than 10 minutes down the road from my parents' house and about 15 minutes down the road from my own home.
Okay.
We stopped by his parents' home several times where I was asked to wait in the car. And once we had met them at a gas station late one night for important medical reasons. And again, I was asked to wait in the car.
Maybe he's uncomfortable with what his parents think of OP or what they might say.
There's definitely something's
up.
Awry.
Something's amiss.
Mm-hmm. He always explained it as he needs our meeting to be under the right circumstances, quote unquote. Soon after that, I met his uncle and his uncle's family. It went so well, we made the 2.5-hour road trip drive to hang out with his uncle again once or twice in the following months. I remember my heart being so full seeing how kind and welcoming his uncle's family was. However, I still had not met his parents. He literally met the uncle
before the I don't understand. I don't understand. Man, they must be bad.
I think we're about to understand.
Okay, I understand it now.
How bad?
Unfortunately.
Okay, let's see.
When I finally met his mom, it was fine, but she did come across as a very my way or the highway and got upset with a waiter that was calling orders in the restaurant.
Excuse me, sir? Why are you calling orders and doing your job?
Can you please not do that?
Could you just use your telepathic skills to be able to silently communicate so you can enjoy my dinner in peace?
I'd rather have a robot serve me like they do in Japan, please.
As someone who grew up in a semi-cultish church, I was already too familiar with the holier-than-thou pastor's wife with a dash of Karen persona. If you know, you know. A few weeks later, I almost met his dad at a soccer game, but he left about 10 minutes, no speaking to me much. I saw his mom once or twice after that, and she didn't make much of an effort to speak to me or get to know me, and her behavior towards me in these small interactions became increasingly rude, such as walking away when I was in the middle of inviting her over for dinner.
This sounds like someone trying to spy an elusive duck or animal. It's like, yeah, I was trying to get close to it and then it ran away. Or like,
Yeah. Like every time she leads up to something, she's like, hey, so, I was wondering if you could come back to dinner. She's like, oh, no.
Oh, no, running away.
Oh.
Get.
My muffins. I must take them out of the oven. Mom, just
stay
chill.
in place and talk to me like a real human.
Just sit for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
As my boyfriend had just moved in and had already expressed to his dad he wanted to have his parents over so we could cook for them, at the time I thought she maybe just didn't hear me. Eventually, at his uncle's Christmas party, I began to really notice his mom doing passive-aggressive behaviors towards me and how intentional it seemed. For example, she would randomly begin talking in front of me about how terrible public schools are and how she would never let her kids be educated by inept public school teachers from the South. Both my boyfriend and his brother went to extremely expensive international private schools, kindergarten through 12th grade.
Oh my God.
That's enough to make blow your hair back. I mean, my God, just shock you with the cost of that.
I know. I am shocked.
My goodness. While knowing that not only am I a product of Southern public schools, but also, ladies and gentlemen, a Southern public school teacher myself.
That's a double dunk.
To rewind it back, Mom said, and I quote, that she would never let her kids be educated by inept public school teachers from the South, as if it's not already.
And also, and inept public school teachers from the South that are in this room and talking to me right now. I would never let my children do that.
That's enough to make me just like grab my hair and then just yank one fickled strand down in frustration. I mean, that is just beyond frustrating.
Beyond frustrating.
And hey, most of them can read, just some of them can't. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Riley is the perfect example.
I'm having a hard time, but I'm making it work.
Guys. Once again, a dyslexic reading podcast producer host.
From the South.
Come on. She said other passive-aggressive things like this throughout the night and would also ignore me or respond in only 1 or 2 words when I tried to speak to her. So when I told her about the poinsettia flower I bought for her, she visibly rolled her eyes and seemed annoyed. She also would turn her back to me or come stand in front of me with her back to me while I was in a group conversation.
I mean, now I understand why OP did not want to introduce his parents to her. Like, they suck. They suck terribly.
It's so aggravating. It makes you want to take both your hands, take 2 even thicker strands of your hair, and just freaking, twist it up and just yank it down.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Deal with this.
I can't even fathom.
Just listening to it makes me want to do that.
Oh my God. Well, I mentioned that night to my boyfriend when we were alone how uncomfortable her behavior had made me feel. He tried to explain a lot of it as just the business of the night and said that we would all be able to get to know each other a lot better in Boston. You see, we had planned for my birthday, which is on New Year's Eve, by the way. Wow, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That we would go visit his brother in Boston, and last minute found out that his parents had an extra room in the house that they had been loaned to by a friend. Wow. And that they were going on almost the exact same days as us. My boyfriend had asked if we could stay with them, and his father said yes. So stupidly, I gaslit myself that everything had simply been coincidence, and I was being too sensitive and was optimistic as I packed my suitcase. Once we landed in Boston, I came down with a cold, and my boyfriend with medical issues became very ill. I was terrified that he was going to end up in the emergency room. This is
serious stuff.
This is serious business. I was constantly running to the corner store to get medicine he asked for, and even walked 2 miles to get him Italian wedding soup from Whole Foods because I was trying to keep his sodium levels down. Hydration was a big concern to keep him out of the ER. Meanwhile, his mom went out of her way to not speak to me, make passive-aggressive comments to other people that seemed directed at me, be overly nice to everyone else, and would walk in front of me and put her back to me anytime we were standing in a group, especially on my birthday when we were all at an escape room arcade. Dude, the mom literally on her own birthday is like, no, we can't have her. Like, she's like, okay, guys, let's play in the escape room. And then the mom's like, yeah, let's plan that. And Opie's like, can I poke my head in here?
Please, can we have a dialogue?
Not at all.
It's enough to just make you take your hand and I don't even know, just take your hair and just go crazy, right?
Go crazy.
Agreed.
I don't get it. If I spoke to her, she would walk away in the middle of me talking and wave me off like shoo, like you're shooing a dog. Be gone. Get out of my face. When we return home, I spoke to my boyfriend about her behavior, and he said he noticed it too and was not sure why she was acting that way. The only explanation he could come up with is that we were very different personality-wise. Let's take a quick little pause right here.
Okay, wait, why are we pausing?
I felt it important to stop right here because I think we need to talk about the boyfriend a little bit. I think that the boyfriend is enabling his mom and is absolutely afraid to confront her.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, he's not putting
Wet
down
toast.
boundaries. He's not putting down, like, I think, like, in a situation like this where you have a mom that's, like, overstepping every boundary, your girlfriend can't be the person that says, hey, stop, because she doesn't have that relationship.
He said that he was going to speak to her about treating me with respect. However, when he tried to have this conversation, she proceeded to talk poorly about me for 2+ hours. How can you say I hate this person 2 hours plus straight? How you only have so many hair follicles on your head? How do you know? I don't know how these things can happen, but I guess it does. And my boyfriend claims he just froze and he didn't know what to do. Ooh, ooh-wee.
Ooh, I'm mad and I don't know what to do.
Now, he tried to defend me, but he admitted he disassociated for a lot of the conversation. She claimed I was controlling because I gave him NyQuil when he asked for it, and she doesn't like NyQuil. And that I spoke for him because I told her that I was worried about his fever and his cough. Then claimed that I had tried to physically block her access to him while he was sick. This just straight up never happened. So after him and I had a very serious discussion about setting boundaries with his mom, he tried to speak to her again, right? After him and I having a very serious discussion about setting boundaries with his mom, he tried to speak to her again and explained that I was trying to be helpful and I have good intentions by literally getting him medicine when he's freaking dying. Well, the conversation went much the same as before. Nothing changed. She's still terrible.
I feel like she's shown time and time again that she will not change.
My boyfriend asked if she would be willing to sit down and speak with me as it seemed there was a lot of miscommunications going on. She responded she felt it wasn't her place to have a talk with me. At first, I told my boyfriend no because I didn't like that, and she was going into it with the mindset that I needed to be put in my place, but my boyfriend insisted that was not the point of the convo. I could see how much it was hurting my boyfriend, and so reluctantly I agreed and reached out to her. So with my boyfriend's help, I drafted and eventually sent a text apologizing if any of my behavior had been hurtful, expressing my intention was to care for him in a time of need, and expressing that I wish he had given me a chance to explain these things at the time so we could clear up any misunderstandings. I
feel like that's taking the bigger person. Like,
that is a, that's this big.
It's big.
You're being you're taking the high road.
Taking the highest road possible.
Higher than your hair can even stand. That's how high of a road. That OP is.
And that's I think where you want to be at, like, is in as many ways and as many times as possible.
It's where you want to be. It's where you want to be, right? I also said that although we do not have to be best friends, I hoped in the future we would both treat each other with respect because we both cared about my boyfriend. In all seriousness, very classy message, and OP didn't even have to do that, but I'll give it to OP for having the most kind approach humanly conceivable. She responded with a day and time she wanted to sit down and have a chat at Starbucks. The day arrives, and I walk into my boyfriend, who said he would meet me there from work, already inside and standing with his parents waiting on me. Immediately, I had a sinking feeling. As you can imagine, the 3-hour conversation went terrible.
Oh.
But some highlights of my favorite things she said to me are, and I quote, number 1, unless she comes up to me and asks me to speak, she doesn't want to hear what I have to say. She would be allowed to do what she wants with her body when I asked if she could please stop walking in the middle of groups while I'm talking with others and putting her back to me so I'm excluded from the conversation. She'll do with her body what she
My body, my choice.
Yeah, apparently. And number 3, she had in fact been kind to me because she allowed me to hug her first when she entered her son's home. Context, I bought the home 100% independently before he and I ever started dating. But I guess since a man moved in, it's his now.
I'm just a silly little girl.
She also was kind to me because she prayed an asthma attack away. It was definitely not the person who lent me their rescue inhaler that saved the day that day. Number 5, don't look at him, look at me. We are having a conversation. Because I turned to my boyfriend hoping he would chime in when I pointed out that neither he nor I remember anything remotely close to me physically blocking her from entering the door to our room when she wanted to ask him what his symptoms were and what he took, moments after asking me the exact same questions and then walking away before I could answer and barging into our room. I was behind her at this point, so I am not sure how she could have ever perceived I tried blocking her.
Look at this. Oh my goodness.
Number 6.
Oh man, we got numbers. We got numbers on the screen.
We are not done yet. I was controlling because I was self-conscious. Amazing that someone who has never asked a single question about me knows me so well. Also, because I gave my boyfriend NyQuil when he asked for it, and she doesn't like NyQuil.
Dude, why are people hating on NyQuil? NyQuil's great.
She knows everything, and I mean everything about my boyfriend, and she has known him for longer than I have. Some would even say from birth. And therefore, there is nothing I can tell her about him that she doesn't already know, and therefore I should not speak about him to her or anyone else. Number 8, there is nothing I can give him that she can't give him.
That's so weird. I was making a joke before when she
Wow, I'm speechless. Too much time has passed since the trip, and I shouldn't be bringing this up now. Number 9, guys, we're not even done with this list. Number 9, repeatedly referring to me as my boyfriend's friend and a guest of the family. 9, icing on the cake, or 10, icing on the cake after berating me, gaslighting me, interrupting me, and belittling me for almost 3 hours, and me finally on the verge of tears. She jumps up, rushes into my personal space, and says, "See, this isn't about me. This is about something going on with you. You are hurting, and that's what I'm worried about." At that point, I walked out, drove home, sobbing to my best friend on the phone about what had just happened, locked myself in the bedroom, and cried myself to sleep. Needless to say, I was devastated because I was seriously doubting the relationship. Let's take a pause right here.
This relationship is effed.
Poll, break up or work on it. Because I ask...
Because they'd had a decent relationship before all this, yeah. And he knows how bad it is. He was trying to keep it away from her. They
met the uncle's family multiple times before OP got to meet his parents, and this is the reason why he was trying to hold off as long as he possibly could.
We do have some votes coming in for breakup, but just before everyone swarms to the breakup.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I don't want to judge people on how terrible their parents are.
Yes.
Like
we don't want to do that.
We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. I do think it's a red flag that the boyfriend hasn't stood up as much as I feel like he should in this case.
At this point, I feel like is pivoting on the boyfriend and if he'll actually stand up and do any of the things we just talked about.
And if you really want to be with him and you don't want the mom around, you're going to have to watch a few episodes of Dexter to figure that one out.
It took me a while to gather my thoughts. But after a few tense days, I sat my boyfriend down and recounted to him every horrible thing that she said to me. I pressed him on why he didn't chime in when she lied about things that we both had previously agreed did not happen, and when she was being condescending towards me.
Ooh, he's probably max chubbing right now.
Dude.
He's like, oh, she's getting on to me. I can't do anything but just sit here and take it.
He admitted that he had felt he needed to be a neutral party in the conversation. This is not the time to be Switzerland, my brother in Christ.
Stick up for your girl, your goal.
You can't be Switzerland when your own mother is a nuclear bomb.
Hey,
Yeah.
yep.
You can't be that. Oh my God. I reminded him that I walked into this conversation in good faith that this was to clear up communications, and instead I felt like it was his family versus me having to defend my character while being interrupted, insulted, and gaslit.
Yeah, dude, I can't imagine if I was to have a girlfriend and be in a situation like this where like my family was going after this person and like everyone was going after them. I feel like the natural thing would be to like protect the person who is being persecuted, you know, that you supposedly love.
I point blank told him that I nearly broke up with him that night and every day since, but my friends have talked me off the ledge because they acknowledge that we have something very special. I also point blank told him, a lot of point blanks here, that I had 3 non-negotiable boundaries that I now needed to set in place for my mental health. Boundary number 1, he needed to go to therapy and his first appointment had to be in the next 3 weeks or I would end the relationship. We are there. This is a contract.
Also,
right
yeah,
here.
I love how concrete and time sensitive these asks are.
Indeed. Absolutely. Boundary number 2. He had 1 year to learn how to set boundaries with his family and stand up for me when I am there and when I am not, or I would end the relationship. And finally, boundary number 3. I would never speak to his mom again. Unless she apologized for the way she treated me, and even then I would not spend prolonged time with her or interact with her closely.
These are great boundaries. These are great boundaries.
We are laying it down explicitly and expeditiously.
Yeah.
Okay?
I love to see it.
He had since attended therapy regularly where his therapist has expressed his mom has an emotionally gross and too close, spicy sepia relationship towards him.
Yep. Hey, you guys were all like,
Ew, Sam, I can't believe you said that.
well, guess who agrees with me? The freaking therapist. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not
it's
saying
certified.
I'm a therapist,
But I am.
but
I am.
I mean, proof is in the pudding.
Because from a young age, she began to place the emotional responsibilities of a partner on my boyfriend because his dad wasn't meeting them. In therapy, which I'm guessing means that he's so far agreed to the 3 boundaries, but in therapy he has begun to recall a lot about his childhood he repressed, like the fact that she would often vent to him and expose him to very adult topics from a young age. She also asked him to make adult decisions for her, like how he felt about her divorcing her husband, his dad, or
Nice.
right?
Yeah, what do you think about this guy? You know, you think he's good? Think he's good for me? I know he's your dad, but like, yeah, come on.
You know, I
You're
feel like I should
really-
leave him for a much better man.
Yeah, much younger man. Someone I have much more in common with.
Someone should say 50% of my DNA.
I hate this. I'm stopping it. I hate it. Can't even believe I contributed to that bit.
And I love them so much, I want it to be 51%.
God.
Like how he felt about her divorcing her husband, his dad, or the financial burden of their very expensive schooling, asking him if he would be okay with being pulled out his senior year to be transferred to public school. Additionally, his parents made passive-aggressive comments about race, such as his mom stating her disgust for people of color being with white women. There it is! There it freaking is.
Oh, so
Racist!
on top of everything what we just had that was already gross, we're slapping on racism.
Racist.
This is a multi-layered dip, and I don't want any of it.
And his dad saying he's glad his son chose the quote-unquote right kind of white to date when he began dating one of his exes who was European. They are, wow. His parents were also very cold, distant, and uninviting to his friends and girlfriends.
Yeah, they want to keep that blood pure. A little bit too pure.
At this point,
God damn.
it's like, bro, not only do I need to cut off your parents, but
You need to cut out. This is yucky.
they are
yucky,
beyond
yucky.
repair. They also have talked a lot about the night my boyfriend let his mom berate me in Starbucks for 3 hours and how wildly inappropriate her behavior
Ugh.
and him allowing it was.
Yeah, you go to Starbucks for coffee, not to overhear tea,
Dude, my God. Since then, he has apologized on many occasions, saying more than once it's one of the biggest regrets of his life and the biggest mistake he has ever made in our relationship. You can say that again. He has also tried repeatedly to set boundaries with his parents and talk to them about the inappropriate things they have said and continue to say. However, the conversations always fall apart, usually with them beginning to gaslight him, making excuses for their behavior, changing the topic, and pretending they don't understand the very simple things he is asking them
They
to
just
do.
keep breaking my walls.
Dude, Riley, you're about to go to the timeout corner, okay? Oh my God. Okay, we're just gonna pretend like Riley didn't just say that. So, for example, his mom tried to say I was trying to control her, then showed the text that he has helped me write, where I was saying I hope going forward we can be respectful towards each other as proof, and therefore I wasn't going to allow her to see her grandchildren. There is ne'er a mention of grandchildren in that whole text. Another time, when he tried to speak with her about how she had spoken to me, she claimed it was his fault. She treated me so poorly because she didn't know she needed to be nice to me because she thought I was just some chick he was hooking up with.
Some floozy.
Some floozy.
Wait,
yeah.
so any person your son's not hooking up with, you're automatic, any person your son is hooking up with, you're just going to be mean to?
Out of jealousy.
Out of jealousy. She's like,
This man cannot have a wife or a girlfriend or partner.
I don't
Because
like, this whole dynamic is icky.
The mom is literally not going, like,
His mom is the only woman he'll ever need, though.
instead of bringing up how his dad had been horrible to her throughout their marriage, describing in detail his repeated infidelities, among other things. His father, at one point, completely unprompted, asked my boyfriend to move in with him if he got selected to pastor a church with an attached home, random, and began talking about how much of a mistake it was for him to move in with his wife when he was my boyfriend's age. When my boyfriend confronted him about this, his dad saying my boyfriend was single and also would have offered his brother the same thing. His brother, who has been unemployed for almost a year and was financially stressed, don't recall being offered the same thing, oddly enough. My boyfriend then said that he didn't want to be referred to as single, to which his dad said he was
Biblically single.
That's kind of funny, though.
Mhm.
That's kind of funny.
And so he would do so regardless. So basically, shut the freak up, son, you freaking little idiot.
Freaking virgin.
He is visibly exasperated with the conversations, often dreading to have interactions with his parents, and has begun seeing them less and less. This is painful for me to see because I don't want him to not have a relationship with them, but also I know that I cannot have a relationship with them without something changing. And my bigger concern is that if we have children, they would see this behavior and think it is okay. That is a great point. The kids will pick up from old granny over here. It's one thing for them to traumatize me, but I have told my boyfriend I am not okay with traumatizing our children. I know all of this is making him feel torn, and often when we try to talk about it and how toxic some of their behavior is, he gets so wrapped up in trying to defend their character, I don't feel truly heard. My friends think he has worked really hard to grow these last 10 months, and he has already made some big changes and wants to continue to do better so that I feel safe around his family. However, my therapist has pointed out this might be a bigger issue further down the road and has asked me if he has changed enough for me to consider next steps with him. Originally, we planned on getting engaged next spring, but things have been in a holding pattern for obvious reasons. At first, I was feeling like he had because his uncle expressed wanting to sit down and have a conversation with us to help improve my relationship with his mom. And my boyfriend had called him and set boundaries that strain had come from his mother's behavior. And I had already tried to mend that fence, but was treated poorly and it would not happen again. However, I found out that this weekend, his uncle doesn't plan on his mom being there and instead just wants to share information about his mom to help us understand.
Understand? What could you possibly want to understand about the mom?
Well, maybe there's some big thing we do not know right now. Maybe that even the boyfriend, her son, doesn't know, that will shed a light on what is possibly going on in her head.
No way any more information could turn me into a supporter of this mom.
Yeah. I feel like we're about to see a really dark family secret.
I don't know if I want to see that family secret.
What if there was a brain-changing leech that leeches onto your brain and is like, it's like Ratatouille pulling the hair, you know, it's like poking the different nerve receptors and it's programming you to be a racist, insane maniac.
I mean, maybe if that's the case, but unless there's a little Ratatouille making her racist, I really don't think I'm going to forgive her.
I straight up told my boyfriend that was triangulation and I wasn't sure I wanted to have that conversation anymore. He was devastated and said he felt like this was going to be his last hope, as he and his uncle had already acknowledged his mom's behavior will probably never change. I also found out that he talked to his dad again about his frustrations, yet still did not clearly set the boundary that he needed to be respectful towards our relationship and towards me. I got quiet at this point, and after a while, he admitted he knew he had dropped the ball. But honestly, at this point, it all felt like too much. I told him I don't feel like rehashing the same conversation because there really wasn't anything left for us to say for the millionth time. And I was tired. And if you're tired, you can tap our profile and join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST, like we are right now. I think OP said it perfectly when she said the line, why would we talk through this when it would just be like rehashing it for the millionth time and we know nothing's going to change? It is just a lost
There's
cause.
no information that we could get that would make this right. There's no information we could get that, again, unless it's the racist Ratatouille controlling this mother. Like, I don't think there's anything that we could get that would make me want to have a relationship with this person.
She has RRD, racist ratatouille disease. It's a tough.
More and more people are affected every day.
Dude, there's some freaking people freaking affected with it.
Oh, yeah.
Since then, things have been really tense between us. I know I said I would give him a year, and maybe I am not being fair getting upset when it hasn't been the full year. And he, in fact, has gone to therapy and has set boundaries with some of his family, the ones who care to listen at least. It is so much more for someone to process and overcome in a year. He is just seeing for the first time how toxic many of his family's patterns are and is still navigating on how to put a stop to it. He hasn't technically met my ultimatums, so I should be grateful for the progress I do see. Are my expectations too high? Am I unreasonable for being the a-hole? That's it of the story. We do not get a confirmation of if she actually left the relationship or not. But you know what?
I hope she, I mean...
We can only pray. We can only pray.
We can only pray.
We can only freaking... Can I ask you, Sam, is this the worst mother-in-law in OK Storytime history? I think we might have finally met our match here.
Like, yeah, I feel like most mother-in-laws are effing their sons over, but this one's taken that a little bit further.
To a whole new level. A whole new meaning. What an episode this has been, ladies and gentlemen. I'm speechless.
I really don't like it.
I
really don't like it. Kimberly Fine says, people like this suck across the board outside of their positional authority. All it takes is a little time to come around. With parents, you have to unlearn the only thing you've known since birth. True.
Yeah, these parents, I'm sorry, there's just no hope in them changing.
Sassy says, "Can we have a wholesome story now?"
No.
Yeah, this was we have been doing more wholesome stories. This one was not that. Don't worry. Well, there's more.
But wait! There's more.
We have a little quickie to close this out. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado,
Carol
let
S says,
Sam.
wholesome break, please.
Please.
Any good news, fellas?
Wait. Do we have an update on this?
No.
Oh, okay.
They had a lot of comments. They were just ranting about stuff.
But let's get into this next story. So, my selfish boyfriend prioritizes his best friend over me, so I want to break up. Almost 3 years ago, I, 27 male, built my house on my family's property.
With these hands.
A month later, I met and began an awesome friendship with Tommy, 31 male. We have so much in common and just clickety-clacked. I fell in love with him soon after. He's kind, brilliant, and we had some amazing times together that I always remember. This comes from Shizzle Jizzle on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So we do live in separate towns about 45 minutes away, but that wasn't much of an issue back then. We have talked about marriage from time to time, something I never really thought about with anyone else. I'm not usually the jealous type unless there's a visible reason for me to be. I have lots of friends that I try to keep up with, some being fellow gay guys. Tommy, on the other hand, can get jealous quite easily when it comes to said friends. I'm not going out with them often, but we do catch up on social media from time to time. A little later in our relationship, Eddie, who was an old coworker of mine, was moving back to town after an ugly breakup and had to move back with his parents. I had a spare room and had invited him to move in with me as a roommate to both help him out and put a little money in my savings accounts. Eddie is gay. And Tommy, of course, was not happy about this idea, and it turned into a few big fights. So I decided to keep Tommy happy and didn't go through the plan. Is that a red flag for Tommy boy?
I think it's a huge red flag. Look, sometimes people are just so horrible that there's just not a redeeming quality.
Mhm.
And,
Sometimes people change up a look, sometimes they're the same. They're the same for the entire time you know them. Let's say your entire life story, and then all of a sudden you come back and you can't even see their true face.
Yeah.
That's true.
This should be Brokeback Mountain, not Triangle Love, Brokeback Mountain. That's what I'm getting here.
Yes. Thankfully, Eddie understood and it didn't ruin my friendship. I was very upset about it. Tommy did apologize for the situation and how he acted, but I never really accepted it. Tommy made friends with Tyler. Tyler is a thirsty, picky princess who constantly sucks up to Tommy's time and attention. I quickly started getting replaced from activities Tommy and I would go together. They'd stay up all night playing video games and talking on the phone, even taking day trips out of town. He would comment flirtatious emojis on Tommy's picture and soon start posting things on social media, tagging Tommy, in some cases telling him he loved him.
Now that is just unacceptable. That is not something that we can let happen.
Yeah, it's almost like I feel like at a certain point you're closing your ears off to the truth, and we can't have that. We want to see those ears be full. We don't want you to block the truth either and tape your mouth shut.
You can't do that.
Gag yourself with your own hair.
Ungag him.
Ungag him.
Get it out of here.
So I got pissed, especially knowing that if the tables were turned, Tommy would have a fit. I made a fuss about this. Tommy says he's only a friend. Tyler blocked me, but continued to unblock me from time to time. I honestly believe that it was for me to see the post he tagged Tommy on. Fine.
Now, that is just plain insanity. That is just, what are we doing here, guys? I'm lost for words.
I feel like something like this shouldn't happen. If it does happen, it should be so rare, almost like seeing Bigfoot,
Well, honestly, I can't see any redeeming qualities here.
No redeeming qualities
I can't see
at
any
all.
of them.
And to our podcast listeners, I apologize. This is all visual humor.
I don't apologize at all.
I finally just blocked his BA. Tommy wanted to get his own place because he was living with family. I offered for him to move in with me in my home. He had stayed with me before for a few months, and it was great. Tommy plans on leaving the state in the future with me and said he didn't want to move to another town in a state for when he moves out of his town. It would be away from the state. That made sense to me.
That makes sense to me.
So his wise idea was to get an apartment with Princess Tyler. I got beyond angry and hurt. It put strain on our relationship, and I did leave him. Nikki Bordeaux says this whole relationship is too toxic. I kind of agree.
This is crazy.
This is crazy.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's like where did this come? It's almost like came out of nowhere. Came totally from the side. John has some pigtails you can grip. You know,
Needs to act like a pony and gallop on out of there.
Gallop on out of here.
Get his tail out of there.
Yep.
Tommy asked me to come back, and I did because I loved him, and honestly, I was weak. Things were okay for a couple months, but soon things got crappy again. Started barely ever seeing him. It soon became only once a month, and that would only be if I asked to see him. He blamed distance a lot, but I knew it was BS. It's not. They're not even in a relationship anymore.
It's not the same.
He blamed the distance a lot, but I knew that was BS. I felt he just wasn't taking me or this relationship seriously at all. I became very lonely. I became depressed. And it was visible to my family and friends. So I ended it. Good. OP, it seems like you need to end it.
Yeah, please.
Tommy did not take the break well, especially because it was right before my birthday and I excluded him from the festivities, though I wasn't really expecting anything from him at that point. I had tried communicating with him about these problems before, but it never went anywhere. I finally chose me. We always told each other that we were friends before anything happened and that we always wanted to be part of each other's lives no matter what. I cared deeply for him, so I remained friends but kept my distance, and we began to move on. So the break finally woke his A up, and he's been trying to get back together. I've been at arm's length because I am trying to move on, but I do love him, and I am believing he has changed. Give it time, girl. Give it time. I do see he's trying, and he does feel guilty of his mistakes, so I have been thinking about possibly getting back together, but I'm taking things slow. Do you think OP should get back together? What do you think, John?
Run.
Why are you running?
Run. Look, this other guy is trying to have his cake and eat his too. So
Yeah.
I don't think that should be allowed.
Let us know what you think. Get back or nah. So then tragedy struck again. He told me that this weekend he is taking a road trip out of state this weekend with Princess Tyler
Come on.
for his birthday. All my negative feelings came back very quickly. And it's literally the exact same situation. Sorry, there's no girlfriend here. Everyone's a dude. And it's literally the same situation.
Rock with the gays.
I realize I can't do this relationship if Tyler is in the picture. It's always going to be a reminder of how he's picked Tyler's feelings over mine.
Facts.
And I don't want a future where I'll never be a priority. I've never said yes to moving away with him in the future because of that. I'm not going to give up everything I have when I have doubts about a happy future. My mood changed as soon as he told me that I told him to leave me be. He kept saying that he's just a friend and roommate, and called me unfair and brought up the fact that I am the one who ended our relationship and that I didn't want him there for my birthday. I told him it's very rich of him to call me unfair and that he's a hypocrite. I haven't spoken to him, and to be honest, I don't know if I want to anymore with sweet little Princess Tyler in the picture. I'm worried our time has come. So am I the a-hole for wanting to walk away completely because of this? I'd really appreciate advice. And we do have an update.
Run away.
Yeah.
This person is you can't reason with a lunatic.
Yeah, so hypocritical.
So hypocritical.
Like OP wants to live with this friend, and this guy's like, no. And then all of a sudden, he's going on road trips and spending all this time with Tyler and literally flirting online, and that's okay?
Yeah, it's a loophole. Trying to get into another hole.
It's like, it's okay when I do it. Oh my God.
But we got an update. So, hello. It's been a while. 7 months to be. 7 months to be, it looks like. I thought I'd share due to events being fairly recent. Tommy and I are over.
Hallelujah.
Yay. Honestly, I feel like I've finally woken up. I actually came back to read my original post, and honestly, I want to punch myself for how naive I have been. So I stayed with Tommy for God knows why over this last 7 months. I went through a few rough times, family related. I was hoping Tommy would be there for emotional support, but surprise.
Nope.
It was little to none. He started going back to school, so he's busy. So with that and his work schedule, seeing him became non-existent. Yet he would go hang out with anyone else. I realized we hadn't seen each other in 2 2 months.
Wow.
That includes for Thanksgiving, which 1, we had usually spent together, and 2, landed on his birthday. Perhaps he didn't want to do anything because of what happened on my birthday, whatever. So I confronted him about this long time not seeing each other, which began a huge fight. One thing I did not mention in the original post, because it honestly makes me feel pathetic, is Tommy did not want to make our relationship official.
Wow.
His excuse had pretty much been that he wanted to get his life together first. 3 years later, I guess the guy will get there someday. He began to argue that I have yet to agree to move away with him in like 2 years, and that's something that stalls us. And I have told him quite a few times that I can't agree leaving everything behind because, like I've said, I don't trust I'll be happy, especially with how crappy things have been between us this last year. He began to say I was selfish for not wanting to compromise, and then went on to say, I have my career to keep investing in. Since you are clearly done progressing in life, you can stay here and relive the same day over and over again. Since he's gone back to school, he's been saying that I peaked in life. Yes, I still have dreams that I'd like to accomplish, but unlike him, I have a well-paying job that I actually enjoy, and I live a rather comfortable life. I kind of snapped and told him that he's a selfish backstabber since all he has done in his entire relationship is choose himself. We are no longer in contact, and I finally feel free.
Hallelujah.
I just wish I had respected myself more and realized that this guy only cared about himself way earlier. But hey, we all learn from our mistakes. By the way, you can learn from your mistake by not joining us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on Facebook and YouTube. We're probably live right now, so come on in.
Get on in here.
I'm going to go right into this update. So as for Princess Tyler, who the F cares? They can have each other and make each other miserable now. I have my family and friends that I can be happy with and enjoy life with a fresh beginning. I can breathe again, and happy holidays to you. And that is where this story ends.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Happy holidays.
What a go.
A saga.
What a saga.
OP, I am sorry this happened to you, but yeah, the hypocrisy is not something you need to deal with, and I'm glad you left.
That's right. Same here.
Yeah.
Same here.
But with that, I think we got to leave, John.
Oh, we got to get the freak out of here.
We got to get the freak out of here. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.